everybody. This is the new mechanical slider from CHENYU. I'm calling it the Guardian. I think that's probably likely the name of it. I found that from a fairly reputable source. So that's what I'm going with. The Guardian by CHENYU. This is stainless steel. It's mechanical. It is a pivot pin slider. And we're going to take it all apart, talk about it, compare it to a few things, the usual. Please join me. So like I said, this is made by CHENYU, and it is a mechanical. We have a couple other products from CHENYU, but there are only two others that I know of, and they are I called this the Battle Shield. I might be wrong on that. I think it could be called the War Shield, and this is called the Composite Linkage. These are three of the best pieces I own, and again, three of the only pieces I've seen come from CHENYU. Really happy with all these. In fact, at one point in time, I said that if I could only have one item, it would be this. Now, that was before mechanicals were really a big thing, at least a big thing for me. But this operates very similarly to this. There's not too many things that do. The spinner, of course, is a different category altogether. Now, that's magnetic. You could put balls in this if you want. A couple other examples that I had that were somewhat close are this. This is sort of a generic design that's available on AliExpress and Amazon. It can be a ball slider or a pivot pin slider. And lastly, I had this Top Speed slider by YEZ EDC, and its top piece up here rotates in the same way. But I can say without a doubt that the mechanical action outdoes the magnetic action any day of the week, in my opinion. So let's talk a little bit about how I use this. This is the bottom for sure. There's a nice CHENYU branding on the bottom there. You can use it upside down. There's no reason you can't. It's not going to rotate easily for you in that function, but back and forth it'll work fine. There is a row of divot detents you can see down in here, and there are actually two springs and two balls that run beside each other up and down this. And then in this portion, or is it this portion? It's this portion where the round end goes. There are two more magnets, two more springs and two more balls. That's how you get this rotation. And oddly enough, it is 18 clicks. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 to get the halfway around. I tend to try to use this in the same way that I would use this. There, I got it off of its pin. Let me put that back on. So I grab it down here in this bottom corner and rotate it up. And that's what I've been used to. That's just what muscle memory wants me to do with this. But I found that it didn't quite want to get all the way back up to a home position, which would be here. I always end up a little bit short of that. And at first I thought, well, that was kind of bugging me. And I wondered, is it because these sides are slanted? I don't know. I don't think that has too much to do with it. I think I just don't know. I don't know. But what I found in the process was that I like this much better. I bring it out as far as I can, or at least I don't stress myself to try to get it all the way back up to home. I bring it out as far as I can and then finish it with my middle finger. And once you get used to that, you're sort of holding it like this, just like you would normally. But now it's just generally 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 9. And then I got in the habit of doing this and really enjoying this. So that's just one little aspect of this. But it's got a really nice sound. I think the hollowness helps a lot. It's got a very satisfying weight in the hand. When you spin it, it's got a good, just got a good mass overall, I think. So the other two things that I have to compare it to mechanically are these, and these are pivot pin sliders. They just don't operate in any way like this does. But we have the top D, and then we have this new lollipop, we're calling it, by unknown maker. Both of these are entirely mechanical. This one does have 8 magnets in it, but that's just to hold this cap on top. It has nothing to do with the haptic feature. This one can go back and forth, but it all takes place out here at the end. And that is the flow, so to speak, for this one. I already showed you the flow for this one. It really isn't anywhere similar to that at all. And this one, of course, I guess the last thing to do before we take this thing apart is just to do some more comparisons quick. I'll do a side-by-side with all the other ones we just looked at, and then we'll measure and weigh it, and then we'll take it apart. So first up, let's do the CP3, Mackie CP3. We have the top B by Metal Toys DZ. Okay, let's bring back the Battle Shield, or the War Shield. These are similar in weight, at least. The Lollipop. The Top Speed Slider by YEZ EDC. You know what? Another thing I forgot to do. Compare these. I think I might have done these first couple, but what the heck? We'll do them again. And then we have the top D. And finally this generic pivot pin magnetic ball slider. Forgive me, I think I forgot to really compare this one side by side. Okay. Let's see here. Lengthwise, we are at 50 millimeters. Width, 31 millimeters. And thickness, 14 millimeters. Extended length, 66 millimeters. Now, for the weight, again, there are no magnets in this, so we don't have to worry about that. I thought it was heavy, 98 grams. Let's just compare that to this, 93 grams. Let's compare that to this, 81. I think that's enough weight comparisons. Alrighty, we are ready to take this thing apart. So before we take it apart, I did forget to mention what it came with. Here are the spare parts. Better than none, but unfortunately not enough. We've got 2 extra small springs, 2 large springs, a small screw, a large screw, and 6 extra balls. We also got, it came in a plastic case, cheap plastic case, but some glossy stickers, some non-glossy stickers, and a QC tag. But right now, there are 2 springs and balls that glide back and forth when we're going in this direction, and 3 springs and balls that operate when it rotates. And what we're going to do, partly, is when I demonstrate taking this apart is we're going to add a spring and a ball to the rotation feature here, so there'll be 4 springs and balls instead of just 3. So let's get to taking this thing apart. We are using, again, this is a T6. We will take apart this part first. I would call this the top. That's going to give us access to the springs. Which springs, I'm not entirely sure. I haven't done this since yesterday. Okay, there we go. Now this little plate on top will now lift off and reveal the inside. So you see there's 1, 2, 3 balls, a tiny ball bearing, and I believe this whole hub on the middle is Teflon. Let's go ahead and get these guys out of here. Just so I don't lose it, I'll take out that little bearing. That is not an R188. And then there's 3 springs in here. They did not all come out. There's 1. There's 1. Okay, so those are all long springs. And you could put a lot in there, but of course we only have 2 extras. So when we get to that, we're going to put 1 here, 1 here, 1 here, and 1 here. Previously, they were in a triangle pattern. We're going to put them in a sort of a square pattern. But that is how you access the bearing and the springs and balls that facilitate the clicking when it rotates. Now we can move on to the bottom piece. This is a little bit trickier. These 2 side plates are going to be completely loose here in a second. Let's get this stuff out of the way. I do appreciate that they made all the screws the same head style. In other words, they're all T6. But it's unfortunate that they are different lengths because you do not want to mix these up. Now, where did the other one get to? Did I mix them up already? No. There's 1. I bet it fell inside. Yes, it did. It fell down into this little gap here. So these are shorter than these, and you won't want to try to put the long ones into the short hole screws, the short screw holes, because they won't go in the whole way. Now I'm sort of holding the whole thing together a little bit, pressure-wise, this way, because it's about to come apart. What I should have said was maybe bring everything back together and sort of line everything up. Might make things a little bit easier. And then you can, we'll turn it upside down so that the branding is facing up, because there's 2 balls and springs pointing up this way now. Just lift that off. Now you got a good clear look at the inside, the detents that run along the length. And there's the 2 balls and 2 springs, or the other half, the other side of the Teflon hub, which is held in place by those 2 plates. Now that'll drop right out. So I know this is looking a little bit complicated, but don't let it scare you. It's not that bad. So now we can just take these, turn it upside down, and they fall out. Well, these are also, I did not notice that earlier. Maybe these are the longer, bigger springs, and these are the shorter. Actually, they don't look shorter. They look, these 2 springs right here that we just took out look a little bit more robust than the 3 that we took out of the rotating portion. And now that I think about it, that makes me wonder what all these extras are. Let's get in here and pull some out. I could have done this ahead of time. Okay, these look like they are two short ones and two longer ones. But these two definitely look more robust to me than any of the other ones. Yeah, so it's like those are shorter, these are a little bit longer, these are just a little bit more robust overall, and these ones, the three that we had on top, they most closely match the shortest ones. So let's put her back together again. We'll start the same way that we took it apart. And I'll go ahead and put these robust springs back into their holes. Whoops, I'm better off using my bare fingers here. We'll put the balls back on top of there. Then we'll put this, you see this countersunk area there, that's fits right in. Now we can take these plates and lay them back in place. Now it's important you don't put them in upside down. Put them in the same way that you took them out. You see this side has some countersinks for the screw heads. Those should be facing downward. And just get those on there as close as you can, line them up with the bottom piece. And you can gently push on both of them against the Teflon middle hub here. That kind of, see how it slides on there? That kind of lines them up. And then all you have to do is take this and gently set it down on top of everything. And if it all lines up like that, you're in good shape. Now I can move it off to the side, get access to these screw holes. Now, I want these 4 short screws, I believe, right? There's 1, 2, 3, 4 short ones, 4 long ones. We want the short ones. Just a quick reminder, when you're putting screws in, it doesn't need to be repeated probably, but let me get it set up here. Just so you don't cross thread, always turn the screwdriver counterclockwise a few times until you hear it click. Like that. Now you know the threads are lined up. Now you can gently start to turn it clockwise, and you'll know you're not cross-threading it. Again, I'm not torquing down on these, I'm just snugging them down. Maybe I'll be using the tweezers here. So it looks a little complicated, but darn it, it's really not too bad. I know myself and a few other reviewers have nearly lost an eye taking these things apart because you're not expecting a spring to shoot a ball out at you at 100 miles an hour. So now we can put the top part back on, and all we're going to do is put these 3 springs back in. Now they were, if you remember, they were in a triangle pattern. Now we're going to go 4x4. These almost appear to be slightly conical, in which case I'm going to try to put the smaller diameter facing up. I can't tell, honestly. If I try to show you, I don't think you're going to be able to tell either, but to me, it looks like they might be a little bit conical. So, take this one. And yeah, these look a little bit conical too. I think pretty sure that's the same exact spring. Now, balls. I have 3, I'll just need to get one more out. They missed an opportunity here, and I don't think this is copying. There's an interesting feature. Let me just interrupt our reassembly here. There's an interesting feature in the ACEDC milk cap coin, or it's also called the noise, the Noiz, and it has several, like this has 6 locations for balls and springs. I forget how many this one has, but depending on how you have it set up, you can either get 20 clicks in a rotation or 40 clicks in a rotation. And it's a shame they didn't take an opportunity to do that here, to add a little bit more functionality, an extra feature, so to speak. That happens to be the same if you watched my recent review on the Lollipop. That's how the Lollipop rotating mechanism is set up in this. Depending on how you have the springs and balls put in there, you can either get 16 or 32 clicks in the rotation part when it does a full rotation. So if you want to see that, you can go watch the video on that. So let's get back to this little project here. I only need one more ball. Oops. These are basically 3 millimeter balls. I think they're like 2.87 millimeters, but I did measure those earlier. Okay, so now all we got to do now, well, I don't want to forget this, put the little O-ring or the ball bearing back in there. These are extra springs. Get those out of the picture. Now this just gets put back on gently on top. It's springy right now. It's resting on those 4 springs and 4 balls, so you got to hold it together and then move this out of the way enough to get access to the screw holes. Like I said, I might have enough nylon balls if I sacrificed them out of another toy to try nylon balls in this, but I'm already satisfied with how I wouldn't want to make it any weaker than it is. If anything, I would want to make it a little bit stronger than it is. And for that, I could try ceramic balls or glass balls, but ceramic would be more readily available. Get in there. Okay, we're almost there. That is it. I think that it may have strengthened it just a tiny bit. I'm kind of used to it. Yeah, it definitely made it a little bit harder to twist. I might take that out now. I might go back to just 3 balls. It almost seems like there's a little bit too much effort now for me to do that. But that's all going to be based on your individual preferences. Overall, I like this. I think it was a good price. I think it's a very nice design, just like I said with all 3 CHENYU designs. I'm very happy and very impressed with them, actually. So I hope you found that useful, entertaining, educational. If you have any questions, put them in the comments and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Thanks for watching. Bye.